Hello everybody and welcome to episode 7. So I'm Richard Ishwood. I work at my clinic in the Wigan area in the UK called No More Earwax. Right, have a look at this. What a beastie. Now, as you can see, hiding behind those softer bits, just there, you can see a really hard black plug of wax. Now, your heart sinks a little when you see ones like this. You think, cancel all my appointments. This is going to be a beauty. And it did prove to be tricky. Did get there in the end. Spoiler alert. Now, it was really hard because of the consistency of it. Now, I like to describe what I call the Cinderella wax. Not too soft, not too dry. Stick a tube in it, out it comes. Easy as anything. This is the complete opposite of that. It's so dry and hard, and the surface, you just can't get a good grip on it. Now, the way I like to describe it to my patients is when you're looking for a good grip with a suction tube, it's standard Zollner suction tube, this by the way, is, say you imagine you're doing the hoovering, maybe doing the stairs, and you stick your hand over the top of the hoover, no other body orifices, do not try that at home. I'm not speaking from experience there, by the way. As soon as you stick your hand on the hoover, you'll see that the power increases, you'll hear the motor working harder, it gets a stronger suction grip. Same theory applies to this. The better seal you can get on the plug, the power in the suction machine will increase, and then you can start gently pulling it away. But with really dry ones like this, it's really hard to get that perfect seal just because of the consistency of it. Now, I've already put some oil in it. We use oils like these, Clear and Aerol. I'm not paid by either of those companies, just in case you were wondering. Both very good, both do the same job, and that kind of binds the wax together, makes it a little moisture on the surface, makes it easier to get a grip on. But no amount of olive oil in the world is going to help that much when it comes to something like this because of how dry and hard it is. Now, I'm having to wiggle my little butt off to try and get this out because this poor chap, it's a relatively big size plug, but he's got a really narrow entrance to his ear canal. And his ear canal itself is quite narrow, quite bendy, so trying to negotiate it out of all those obstacles, it's really tricky. Now, as you can see with the suction tube there, I'm exploring different areas of it, trying to rotate it around a bit, trying to find somewhere where we can get a good grip, and then we can start wiggling. But there's very few. There really is very few. For those of you who watched a lot of these videos before, you'd be saying, why didn't you get the hook out? Why didn't you use some other tools? We did try the hook. The patient found that quite uncomfortable. It was a bit tender, so obviously we stopped. Patient comfort and safety comes first. You just saw a little bit of a skin ribbon flew up the suction tube there. And as we're getting a good look at it, it does look a little bit wetter on that side there. So we're going to try and get a grip of that one and see if we can slide this out. But it is absolutely wedged in there. As you can see, it is quite narrow. It's kind of shaped like that. And the problem we've got here is, now I've seen childbirth a few times. 3 in fact, and it's, don't all show it to me ladies, but the theory is the same. This plug is bigger than the hole that you're trying to get it out of, and so by wriggling and pulling, trying to slowly dilate that ear canal so it widens a little bit, every little bit, every little tug makes it slightly wider so we can wriggle it out. So it's probably about 9mm dilated at the moment, not in full-blown ear labour, but we're certainly working on it. And yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. Now, for those of you who are asking, if you want to know, if you're interested, if you want to know a bit more about my background, I was a former NHS nurse for many years. Worked in the community as a district nurse, as we call them in the UK, going visiting people at home. And earwax removal used to be a service that we provided quite commonly on the NHS. A little bit went away there. But unfortunately, it's not commissioned anymore, and by that we mean the Department of Health does not pay services, trusts, hospitals, GPs to do it anymore. So a lot of them said, well, if we're not getting paid for it, we're not going to do it. So I can't say they blame them. And that's why I left the NHS, because there's obviously a big gap in the market there, and there's a few of us popping up all over the place, here, there and everywhere. And I did my fair share with the NHS, so I think I deserved a little break. So yeah, best thing I ever did as well. So as you can see, we put a little bit more oil in there because you see it's shining and glistening and bubbling along the sides, but it's still not budging. Now, in a bit, you'll see me do a bit of a wiggle, bit of a jiggle. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Benny Hill when everything's sped up at the end and everyone's chasing around. The kind of wiggle I'm going to do in a minute, it looks like that. There you go. I promise it's not sped up, but when things are done in such microscopic sizes, things are so tiny, it looks more violent than it actually is. When in reality, I'm just giving it a bit of a jiggle like this. But it looks really violent there. But it did actually do the trick. It did work, finally. So I've gone a bit blurry there, gone a bit too close with the camera. But this next jiggle is the jiggle to end all jiggles. It's a mother jiggle. Jiggle my little butt off I did. And the patient didn't feel anything, so it was completely comfortable throughout. Here comes that jiggle. See, look at that. I promise it's not sped up. That's in real-time speed. But it did the job. You can see it slowly starting to come away. And any second now, she's going to pop out. Obviously, the relief the gentleman felt was quite significant. Having something like this in your ear, it's got sharp edges, it's going to irritate, it's quite painful, quite uncomfortable, and she's just about to pop out. Oh, she pops. Now, as you can see, the colour of it when it's out the ear, it's jet black, it's rock hard, just like a little stone. I know it doesn't look that much, but when it's in the canal, it looks like monsters, but when you actually pull it out, it's only a small ear canal, it doesn't take much to block them up, so that's the total of what we actually got out of him. Better out than in. There is ear canal afterwards, lovely and healthy. A few specks, we're not going to beat ourselves up about them. Need to leave a little bit in there. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is you kids do. Thanks for watching.